You know I'm lying in bed way too long when the pillow keeps getting messed out. Yes, it is 7 in the morning and I have been in bed all day. Um, I did get out of bed and went to the sofa yesterday. Um, but, um, but yeah, the pillows always move about too much. But yeah, another thing I wanted to say actually is that when I first bought the Mollies, I didn't even know they were called Molly because I'm sure the person spelt them Moul and then maybe S. So I remember it kind of being like Mully. Um, I don't really remember because I just like the colour, so that was the main reason why I bought it. But I didn't obviously know that it was called Molly until I looked it up and realised that it was actually spelled differently, and it is interesting how my sword tails seem to do fine. Sword tails are supposed to be half, or I've heard they're supposed to be half Molly and half platy, but yeah, I'm not too sure really how, because both the platy and the molly are both quite like fat things, and yet the sword tails that I have seem to be long and straight. And yeah, for some reason I've got sword. The females don't have a sword tail, but they come in different colours as well. Like one of them is just plain orange, but that one doesn't look very happy with the group because the sword tail male seems to be very like quite fast and aggressive, and I'm always seeing it hide. So I have actually put now that all the mollies are died except for one, and that one looks a little lonely. I've taken that one, the one that doesn't like being around the other sword tail, and I've put her back in with the surviving molly, because she seems happier, not getting pestered. But yeah. The other two sword tails, one has like a sort of like a big black spot which almost died. That one was the one that almost died because it jumped out this tank and went down the back of the cabinet, and I almost didn't recover her in time because it was out of water for about 8 minutes, and it's supposed to die after 4 minutes, so I almost lost that one. But yeah, that one might be pregnant, and then there's the female that has a black tail that might be pregnant. I don't know. Maybe they're just eating, but they have a little bit of a bulge on their stomach. But yeah, I know both of those types aren't when they get pregnant, they aren't always obviously pregnant. But yeah, and there's the larger male, and so the platy. There's the two platies, which are when I was managed to get loads of pregnancies. There was two fish, two female and one male. One of the fish that had the dark tail, that had two pregnancies, and then the other one had one pregnancy, and I could tell the difference because some of them had a dark tail and some of them had a sort of lighter tail. And out of the 12 babies that I have, the first one was actually a lighter tail, so I know that its dad had the dark tail and its mum had no dark tail, hence why it's got a sort of light coloured tail, whereas the female because there's only 2 left out of the 12, there's only 2 left of the platies of the babies that made, there's only 2 of those left, and they're actually they're a year and a half now. They were born July, not last July, but the July before that. They're supposed to live for 2 years, but I've got none of my fish to last 2 years. Almost all my fish die within a year. So for me to have a fish that lasts a year, I think that's actually pretty, like, that seems to be the standard that I seem to be getting. But these two, for some reason, have lasted a year and a half. So these two have outlived. These are the longest that have lived. But yeah, one of them is the male that definitely is a male. It looks like a male, but it's not. It didn't get any of the 12 babies pregnant, although technically 6 of them kind of died before they got to before 6 of them, I think, 4 of them definitely died when they were very, very small, so had no chance of getting pregnant. But I know there was about 8 in there for quite a long time, and all of them could have got pregnant, and none of them did. And so the male that I have in there, that I thought was a female, but changed into a male. But yeah, still there's no babies. I think that, I don't know what happened, but it looks like a male. If I showed you a picture, you'd probably say it looked like a male, and but for some reason it isn't, or wasn't, or whatever. But anyway, yeah, that one's very possessive though. Technically it's a half sister, but there's two surviving, and they're half sisters because one has a dark tail, one has a light tail. Hence, one came from the mother that was just plain orange. That was, I called her flounder. I called the mother the orange one that was just orange, flounder, and then there was this other one that had a black tail. And I called, I can't remember what I called her. But yes. What else? Yeah, and it's interesting though how the sword-tails seem to be flourishing. It's not the platies that are pregnant. This time it's the sword-tails that are pregnant. I feel like that's a sign that war is coming. If they are pregnant, I don't know if they're pregnant or not, because it might just be that they're eating. The molly that survived looks very chubby, but it's looked very chubby ever since the day I got it. So I think its determination to survive has just made it want to eat. And it's annoying though, because I was trying to save all that when I saw the white spots on that molly that was very thin and looked like it was about to die. I put it in a net and surrounded it by food, hoping that would maybe help it to eat and fix itself, but it didn't look like it was eating much. Food would go in its mouth and then it would kind of just blow the food out, and that was about all it was doing. So I knew something was wrong with both of them. I knew something was wrong with both of them, but the female died and I couldn't save it, and then I tried extra hard to save the male, but within two days that one had died too. But it was strange because the other silver one that was quite chubby and looked fine, and I don't know. Thing is though, with the mollies, when they get pregnant, because they give so many babies, they really are pregnant. You can definitely, if you look at a molly that's pregnant, you can definitely tell that it's pregnant. So just because the mollies might have looked, two of the ones that looked healthy might have looked pregnant, but technically when a molly is pregnant, it actually does bloat out like a balloon. But yeah, with the sword-tails, when they get pregnant, it's subtle. Like I with the 3 pregnancies that I had, I think I did notice the first one because she gave birth to like 6 in the first pregnancy, but the other 2, I didn't know that they were. I didn't know there was going to be babies. I just saw more later on, but yeah, that was 12 in total. But